Hello everyone. So this is going to be a rather different type of video for the channel because I'm going to be branching out for the first time in a long while, and instead of doing Dead by Daylight content, I'm going to be doing Shinobi Strikers content, which is another game that I really like. Today's tier list, I'm going to be going over the DLC characters and ranking them by how good or how viable I think they are. So, the tier list I have here, I don't think these are exactly in release order. In fact, I can tell you they're not. But we're just gonna go by the order we have. Starting with Boruto. Pretty sure this is non-karma Boruto, which gave us some pretty good jutsu, but I don't think he gave us anything super incredible. At least, not anything that I use a lot in my kit. I don't believe I don't think this is the one that has Thunderclap Arrow. I believe that's the other one. So I'm gonna put this one at a solid B, kind of right in the middle. I don't think it was anything great, but I don't think it was anything bad. Jiraiya, I have some issues with. So, I love Jiraiya as a character, but in terms of the game, I don't think his DLC did much. Toad Flame Bomb was pretty good, Needle Jizo was useless, and then bringing down the House Jutsu, it's just not a great one. I don't ever really see it used any kind of competitive viability. I think overall, Jiraiya was a great addition to the game, but I just don't think he added much in terms of like actual playability. Ino, on the other hand, I'm probably going to put all the way up an A. So, one of the most commonly used combinations right now for heal builds is to run Water Pillar with Palm Sage Mind Transfer Jutsu. And getting Mind Transfer Palm Sage from her was absolutely insane. It's kind of a game changer for the way that a lot of people run heal now. And I think for that alone, that's well warranted being all the way up an A. Octopops is another one that I'm going to put into C. I didn't get a lot out of him. I think Acrobat Technique was okay. Octopus Hug immediately got overshadowed by other jutsu that did the same thing but did it better. I don't think there was really a lot there that really ended up helping out with his kit. And other than that, I don't think we got a lot out of him jutsu-wise. Mei is another one I'm going to put into A because of the combination that I just spoke of. Pairing Water Pillar with the Palm Sage is one of the best combinations that is in the game right now. But not only that, Dissolving Jutsu isn't a bad one. I think it works pretty well whenever you're close up and you kind of need to get a bit of distance. But then also, I actually think her ult is one of the finest amongst all the heal types. I usually get a lot of viability out of using the Dissolving Fog Jutsu, and I think it's kind of underrated. I think more people should utilize it. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and put a bold claim and put her in A. Guy I'm going to put into B tier. Now, I'm not the biggest on attack type anyways. It's just not my personal preference. I'm more of a, I'm more heal slash range. But I do like Guy's kit pretty well. I think that he has some good things there. I think that a lot of his stuff combos pretty good. His ult can be really good. The only trade-off is once you launch the, if you actually launch Night Guy, you're kind of automatically taking a KO. Just the way that it works. Which I don't think is terrible, but I do wholeheartedly believe that I think there's only so much you can do with a kit like his in terms of viability. I think they did what they could. Moving on, we have Nagato. Now, Nagato, if I'm remembering correctly, he has the summoning for his Salamander, I'm pretty sure that's him and that's not the Pain. But he has the Salamander that allows for invisibility. His ult is Planetary Devastation, which whenever it hits like a truck. Like, don't get that twisted. If this hits, it's gonna do some damage. I think that Nagato is probably an A-tier addition to the game. I think that they did a rather good job incorporating him into the game. I mean, it's one of those that I think it's hard with some of these characters because Shinobi Strikers has a pretty bad problem about just kind of reusing characters instead of just kind of giving us new ones, which personally it kind of makes me a bit sad to see, but yeah. Also, I was wrong. I'm going to correct this real quick. Nagato does not give us Planetary Devastation. He's the one that has Summoning Ghetto statue, which I actually don't think is quite as good, so I am going to move him down to B tier. I am sorry about that. I wanted to second check that. Moving forward, we have the Naruto Uzumaki Boruto era. So, I'm gonna go ahead and probably say he is our first S tier. I don't play a lot of attack, like I said before, but all the things that we got from this character, Rasen Rampage will tear someone up, Kurama Twin Impact is another one that's just fucking broken, and then Kurama Link Mode is another one that constantly is being used, because not only does it give you a boost, but it gives your whole team a boost. Plus, and maybe this is just personal preference of mine, but through his tier, you also get the Scientific Ninja tool for the Rasengan, which I think is almost like base kit. I use that all the time. I think it was just a solid addition to the game. Now, going beyond her, or him, we're gonna get into Sakura, which I want to say... Well, hold on, I need to get to the proper Sakura so that I can do this fairly. Sakura, I think, is a decent heal, but I think that's it. I don't care much for her kit. I don't use her a lot. I don't use her stuff a lot. I think that maybe some people have found more viability than I have, but I don't really care much for her kit. Konohamaru, I might be biased, but I actually really like his kit. I quite like Burning Ash. I think it's one of those that even if you don't necessarily hit the ignition for the burn off of it, just having a little bit of like screen distortion usually is enough to kind of mess with people. I think Flaming Meteors is pretty good, and I do like Summoning Enra. I think overall he's just an interesting kit, which makes him more fun to play. Reanimated Minato is busted. So, right off the bat, Celestial Air Slice, one of his first ninjutsu you get, it feels like an ult, the way that it hits. It's kind of insane, actually. Like, the first time I hit that, I was very confused. I thought that I had accidentally like done my ult. But no, it's kind of broken. Flying Raijin Guiding Thunder, when used properly, is almost a game changer in terms of blocking out all kinds of projectiles and stuff like that. And then his ult, Flying Raijin Jiku, that's another one of those that'll just kind of melt people. This was a very, very good addition into the game. Next we're going to go with Baryon Mode Naruto. Baryon Mode Naruto is another one that has potential to just be absolutely insane. I'm not going to put him quite into S, but just know that if I were better with him, he probably would be S tier. But some of his stuff, Baryon Bullet Barrage, great combo, very, very deep. Baryon Tailbreaker is another one that's pretty good. It's kind of your auto attack, the way that it works. And then Baryon mode as a whole is another one of those that's really good. Like, whenever you go into Baryon mode, not only do you get a boost, you become a lot more powerful, your ninjutsu cooldown hits heavily, and you get altered ninjutsu. Stuff like that I always really enjoy, so like that's kind of why I'm going to give him the praise that I'm giving him right there. Obito is another one that might get some flack for this, but I thought he was okay. I don't really care for his stuff very much. This is Tintelligent Cherokee mode, of course. But Truth Seeking Scorch was pretty good. Cross Lantern I enjoy. And then the Nanaboku Blade I think was... It was a good addition to the game. But I don't think that any of his stuff was just absolutely game-changing. Next we're going to have our next S tier, in my opinion, which is Temari. So, Temari's kit, just to get out of the way, is probably the stuff that I use the absolute most in the game. So, to elaborate on that, Temari's Wind Scythe Jutsu has got to be one of the best I've seen. The way that it hits, it kind of tracks, and whenever it does hit, it does a lot of disruption. It hits pretty hard, it will fling you across the stage pretty good. It's just a really good jutsu. It tracks really well too. Blade Dance is another one that's really good whenever you get into like the 1v1 situations, because it has great tracking, great range, and it will mess you up. And then Sea Dragon, that one's just insane. The fact that you can get a combo of up to 75 hits off of that is just, it's broken. It is absolutely broken. Here's where we start running into a few issues. I see Ishiki used all the time. I don't know that I personally care too much for his stuff, but I have to respect how much I see it. And for that reason alone, I'm going to put Ishiki all the way up into A tier. I think that his ult is really good. Karma is good. And then his first jutsu, I'm trying to remember the name. I think it's the Sukanahikona, something like that. It's another one that I think is rather solid. But overall, just because I've not been able to utilize his kit to the fullest, I'm just going to put him in A. Now, Haku is one that a lot of people have always found viability with and quite enjoy. I use one main jutsu out of his kit, and that is the... Oh man, I don't use Icicle Swallow. I think Icicle Swallow could be good if used by the right person, but I always use 1,000 Needles. I really like this jutsu. I like that it's one of those that you can just kind of place it down, it stays there as a trap, your opponent has to watch their footing. It's just overall, it's very solid. Crystal Ice Mirror, I've not really ever been able to find a good opportunity to hit that and just keep on, like, comboing it. I think it's one of those that, if you do hit it, it's gonna do a bunch of damage. But there's no guarantees that you're always going to hit it. And whenever you don't, you feel pretty disheartened, because, like, you want to use that for the potential damage that it can do, and whenever you can't get that, it just feels a bit busted, or a bit broken. Okay, Hashirama. I think he is another A tier. So, Laughing Buddha Jutsu, I think, is really good. I like it, it has great tracking. It can be a bit slow, but you're almost always going to hit it. Wood Dragon Jutsu is insanely fast. That's another one that you're pretty much always going to get a hit on, and whenever you do hit, it's going to do some damage. But his main thing is his ult. His ult is insane. I think his ult alone is well beyond, or well deserving of putting him into A tier. Next we have Kakashi. All of Kakashi's stuff, I think this is another example of having a very balanced but good kit. I would put Kakashi in A tier. Assuming I'm thinking that this is the right one that has like the Kamui Shuriken, that is basically a one-hit kill whenever that hits. And other than that, his other parts of his kit, they're just not bad. I'm not putting him in S because I don't use his stuff as much, but his stuff is insane. Kabuki goes into S, and my reasoning for this is how annoying he is. So anyone that, if you play PvP, you know very quickly that whenever Kabuki hits his ult, your whole team is going to squad wipe. It's absolutely insane. The range, the power, everything that comes out of his ult is just absolutely nuts. If he hits that ult, you're basically going to squad wipe. I'm going to put Madara in S as well. So maybe this one is a bit more controversial as well, but Majestic Destroyer Flame is pretty great. Actually, no, scratch that. I'm going to put him into A. Hiding in Ash Jutsu is not a favorite of mine. I don't care for it very much. I think it's only decent. But Heaven Concealed is one of my favorites. I really like Heaven Concealed. So, Minato I'm going to put into B, which might sound a bit sacrilegious, but his first Jutsu, Flying Raijin, is very situational, trying to really like get any value off of it. Like maybe it's, if you can do something very quickly while you're doing something like Capture the Flag, maybe you can get back halfway or so, but other than that, I think it's kind of a waste of a spot. Level 2 is a pretty good jutsu, it has really good power. And then Flying Howl I think is another one it's a good ult, but nothing in his kit just super impresses me. That's why I'm putting him where he is. Man, Hiruzen. I've had a lot of fun playing with Hiruzen's kit, but he's another one that I'm actually gonna put Hiruzen down into C. Dragon Flame Bomb isn't bad, but it's a bit hard to hit. Earth Dragon Bullet is another one that's great for like doing quests and whatnot, but not so much for PvP. It'll sit there, it'll kind of do its thing, but it's easy to avoid, and it doesn't do a lot of damage upon hit. And then Reaper Death Seal, it's kind of it's a one-shot if you hit it, but it's not very easy to hit. I think overall, he's just not one that's really worth going after. Like, I think there's better iterations. I don't think you really need to necessarily use him. So, I'm pretty sure this is Last Battle Naruto. Which, this one was pretty good. This was a really good one. I'm gonna go A. Truth Seeker Orb Cycle is a really good jutsu for evasion and getting out of there whenever you need to. We also got his multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu for his substitution, which I really like. I use that one as probably my main substitution, which I kind of get flack on because why are you using such a long substitution? Well, because I like the fact that I can double tap it. Chakra Rebirth is another one that I think has a lot of viability, especially in a team setting. And then Massive Rasen Shuriken is another one that it just absolutely hits great. The fact that this is a heal class as well, I think it added a lot of power that the class was missing. This was just overall a very, very solid pick. Oh, man. Someone's gonna be offended by what I do here, but Neji's my first D tier. I don't really like anything about his kit. And maybe that's just me, but the only really good thing Neji's kit has going for him is 128 palms, but even then, it's pretty easily avoidable. Hazen Strike and Body Blow, I'm sorry, I think they're just terrible. I've never seen anyone really get any kind of viability out of them. Maybe you're someone that is able to do better than me with it, but I can't, in good conscience, put Neji above D. I can't stand the kid. I don't think it's great. Now, Obito, I'm gonna put this iteration of Obito into B tier as well. I think that there's a lot of viability. Uchiha Flame Formation's not bad. Kamui Climax could be better. And Bomb Blast Dance is... it's not bad for what it is. It's a great fire. I think it's a pretty good fire ult to have for defense class. But other than that, I don't know a lot of people that are running a lot of his kit. And I think that's probably why I'm gonna have to put it where I do. Orochimaru is another one that, even though I like some of his stuff, like, I like to use, I like using Great Breach, which by no means is a good jutsu. It's really kind of mid. I enjoy it. Striking Shadow Snake is another one that for 1v1's not terrible. It's okay to have for a ranged attack. And then Reanimation, I think it looks incredibly cool, but I don't think that it's not easy to hit. It doesn't do a lot of damage whenever it does hit. I'm gonna put that right about there, and I feel like that's a pretty good spot for it. I will say, I see a lot of people that kind of run his stuff just because it looks cool, but other than that, it's not my favorite. So this iteration of Sasuke has a lot of interesting things. Heavenly Hand Power, I think, is really unique. I like the grab and pull, if I'm thinking of the right one. I'm pretty sure I am. I think it's a great grab for a defensive player. It's going to bring them in real close. Susanoo Armor is also pretty good for just very quick defense. It works very well. And then Indra's Arrow is very powerful for a defensive ult. In general, I think that I would put Sasuke into the A tier. So the first iteration of Shisui, oh man, this one is hard. Halo Dance, in my opinion, is just okay. I do not like the Shuriken Jutsu. I don't find a lot of viability out of it. Maybe that's just me. Kodo Amatsukiyami, whenever you get hit by that ult, you're furious. You can't do anything about it. I think his ult is the only thing I really ever see used competitively. It's really good, but I feel like the rest of his kit kind of suffers. So I would probably put him about right here in B tier. There could be arguments to be made that his ult alone is great enough to put him up higher, but this is the tier list of how I personally use these characters and what I think of them. So I'm gonna put Shisui about right there. I feel as if that's pretty fair. So 6-pass Madara, I'm gonna put into S. This might be pretty controversial, but Thunderblast I think hits like a tank. Border Jail is really great, and Infinite Tsukiyomi is another one of those that's just insane. I'm not going to go too much more into detail, but I feel like that's a fair ranking for him. Tobirama is another one that I'm going to put in the C. I like Water Dragon. That's probably one that I use a lot on my ranged. Severing Wave, I don't like at all. I don't think it has great range. I don't think it hits very hard. It's very mid. And then Tandem Paper Bomb, that's one of those that it's really good if you're using it for like missions and whatnot. Specifically like Protect the Gate. That's one of the few instances I see where it has a lot of viability. But other than that, his kit was rather disappointing for me, which is pretty upsetting because I love Tobirama. Now, moving on from there, we have Tsunade. Tsunade, I think... Tsunade is another one that's hard to really gauge. I don't care for Heavenly Foot of Pain. Nervous System Rupture, it's just not very good. And then Slug Long Distance Healing was also just okay. I think just in general, they could have done better with her, and they just kind of didn't. I would say C tier. My next D tier is Zabuza. So maybe it's just because of my playstyle, but I don't like his kit at all. I don't like the pause that you have to do with Demon Hunter and hit and miss jutsu unless you're playing with a team that is specifically set up to be running like Water Style and stuff to receive that boost. I just don't really think it's worth it. And I know a lot of people share my sentiment with that, so I don't feel like I'm just kind of pulling that out of nowhere. I know that a lot of people don't care much for it, so that's why I feel pretty okay with that. Onoki, I'm actually gonna put Onoki into D tier as well. So, for starters, making him heal was a choice, for sure. His jutsu, super weighted and super lightened, they're okay. Super weighted, of course, makes your enemies slower and whatnot, and lightened makes your teammates quicker, jump higher, and all that stuff, which is great and all, but if you're running these, you're not going to have any real viability yourself on the field. And then Dismantling Jutsu, it looks awesome. I think everyone loves Particle Style, it looks really cool. Absolute pain to try to land. I think for that reason alone, that's probably where I'm going to have him sit, is right there. So, Sasuke's kit, I'm going to put him into S tier, just because of how fun it is. Flame Lightning is really good. Heavenly Hand Power is one of the funniest things you can hit on your opponent. They get so confused, and I think it's hilarious. Just randomly swapping locations with them throws them off so much. And then his ult, Nokami, I think it's one of the better ones in the game. Just for how fun he is, I'm gonna put him in S tier. And see, now we're gonna be getting into Karma Awakened Boruto. This is the one that slaps. He's an S tier. Boruto's Dream, once again, isn't bad at all. And actually, Multi-Shadow Konjutsu, I think, comes from him as a substitution. Thunderclap Arrow has become almost meta at this point. It works really well. There's great range. I think it does a really good job at what it does. And then Linchpin, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. I think everyone, you already know what's going on with Karma Linchpin. Ooh. Young Gaara. Young Gaara is going to go into B tier. Sand Tsunami is one of my favorites to use. Sand Coffin can also be really good. Playing Possum Jutsu is just such a weak ult that I have to put him all the way down to B tier. And maybe that's not fair, but I don't really care. I was really hoping for more on Gaara's kit. Kaguya's an S. Kaguya is insane. Vacuum Fist hits like a truck. Murderous Bone Ash is really good. And then Amino Minaka is just an insane ultimate. The fact that all this is in heal class as well, I think just absolutely is the icing on the cake. And now we have our newest addition to the game currently. And this is our defensive Perfect Susanoo Shisui. Now, I can't get over how much I love this iteration of Shisui. So, Susanoo Tsukumo is kind of insane if you've not seen it yet. You do this huge launch of Senbon. They hit really well. Genjutsu Sharingan is another one of those that's just kind of insane. You protect your whole team, and whenever you get hit, phantasms get sent after your opponents. It does great damage. And Susanoo Kishin, it's not only one of the most powerful, it is so cool. You actually float above the arena, and then you choose where you crash down. And if you hit it right, you're basically going to one-shot someone with this jutsu. This was an insane addition for the defense class. That is going to do it for my current tier list of the DLC characters based off of viability and how well I like their kits and how well I implement them. I'm sure a lot of people are able to do more than me, but this is just kind of how I'm going to do my ranking. There are a lot of S and A tiers. There's not as many C and Ds, but that's because I think, honestly, with this game so far, they've done a really good job introducing characters and giving them playable movesets. So, that being said, this was my first kind of dip into another game, this time being Shinobi Strikers. I'd love to do more content for it. And if you guys want to see more branching content, let me know. And that's going to do it. Empty Giant, out.